You know, you've heard many times, you are what you eat, but in reality, you are who you surround yourself with. So, do you need to take some inventory of your friends and colleagues? Here with some advice is our executive life coach, Irina Baranov. It's great to have you with us again, Irina. And this reminds me a little bit of an Italian proverb. My grandmother would say, you walk with somebody with a limp and you get up with a limp.
Oh, good one.
And so that really is the point, right?
Yep.
Tell me about that.
And the analogous business quote by Jim Rohn is, you are the average of the 5 people you spend most time with.
How about that?
Right. So we are contagious, we human beings, whether that's in a good way or in a bad way. And there have been some actually really fascinating studies done about how very contagious we are. So let's say you and I are friends and you're going through a hard time and you are constantly sad and down. That is going to impact me. My natural level of optimism and happiness is going to sink a little bit, as it should, because my friend is going through a hard time. But even if it's 1 or 2 steps removed, if your neighbor is going through a hard time, or if a cousin of yours is going through a hard time, I am going to have the impact of that. So we really need to be very aware of who is in our circle and what they're going through, because that's going to impact us.
And so how do we protect ourselves, or how do we redefine who is around us? Because there are some choices we can make and some we can't.
Exactly. And I think it starts with intentionality. So if you know your own values and your own aspirations, that's a big step forward. So for instance, I talk to people, who's in your professional circle, who's in your social circle? Oh, the people I grew up with, went to high school and college with, and the people that I work with. Great. And are those intentional connections? Are those people that have similar values as you? So for instance, what are your values? So I might talk to somebody whose values are around family, whose values are around making an impact on the world, whose values are around spirituality. And then when I ask who's in your world that kind of emulates that, they'll say, not really anybody. So it starts with knowing who you are, what you aspire to be, and then looking for people in the world to mirror that.
Okay, well, in fact, that whole process of looking for someone to mirror that, can you physically make a list about who you'd like in your life?
I think you should, and I actually suggest that people make a wish list. So if you're going for fitness, put that on your wish list. I want somebody who's really into fitness. If you're going for career success, put that on your wish list. Like, I want to hang out with CEOs. That it's okay to wish. And once you have that in your mind, okay, here's what I'm shooting for and here are the kinds of people I'd like around me, then be brave.
Take a risk?
Pick up the phone, send an email, ask somebody out for coffee.
Okay, there's a lot to be said for all of that. Is there any other big advice, any other umbrella that you think we should be really thinking about?
Clarity. Just be really clear on what your goals are, what your aspirations are, what your values are, who it is that you are trying to become. We're all trying to become somebody, right? And then look around and see if the people in your circle are supporting that or pulling away from that. And if they're pulling away from that, maybe keep a little bit of a distance and go for the people who are more aligned with what you want.
So for more on Irina's advice on being your own best self, you can go to cbsphilly.com and click on the Talk Philly. Now, here's your forecast.